SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure Monosity.
What? Say that again. With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Oh, Joe Brilla, good morning. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's saying wakey wakey.
Oh, he's waiting,
telling
he's
us
ready.
that
He's got his coffee. And
our
he's
intro didn't
prepared.
start soon enough, and
Yeah,
he's
right.
like, "Get your coffee out."
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com, episode number 65. Good old 65. They tried converting my my college football number to 65. Unfortunately, it actually stuck for a period of time, but episode number 65. And we've got a doozy. I don't even know what we're talking about. I said we got a doozy. and-
It's okay. The comments are hot this morning, so we'll start there. We've
Okay.
got Joe Brilla telling us wakey wakey, eggs and bakey kind of stuff. We got
Yeah.
Chuck Lorre. I'm back. Good morning. Ryan. Yo. Morning, fellas.
Good morning.
We got Brad saying happy morning, fellas.
Happy.
Daddy Jeep saying morning.
What's going on, Rob?
And Ryan's calling out no flannel. There's
Ah,
no flannel
There's
here today.
no flannel. If you're listening to us in your ear holes, this is a rare occasion where we are not currently
Non-flanneled.
not flanneled up today.
Yeah.
My lumber sexual nature. I can't even pull up my hoodie and show off a flannel because it's temperate enough where we are recording from in the Great Lakes to Midwestern region.
No, I had frost
And,
on my Jeep this morning.
I was gonna say chance of snow today or something.
Chance of snow. Well, I've recently been exposed to a number of people who are, from like Canada up, and they're like, "Oh, it's a heat wave. It's 28 degrees."
Yeah.
And, pretty temperate here, but we are so glad that you are joining us, folks. If you are listening to us at a later date, understand you can always join in the conversation on Facebook Live at 10:19 a.m. on Mondays, and that's over on our SFJ 4x4 Facebook page. You can jump on, be part of that conversation, add to the comments, look at us. I don't know why you would exactly want to, but you could see our
If
smiling
you want to get
faces.
scared, I guess,
All right, right.
And
I want to
just
see Jeff in his dapper.
Jeff
outfit.
looks swell today, and so it's valuable that if you can't see him, he is in full producer.
Yeah, he just held back the
attire.
tie.
Right.
Other than that, he's all in.
He's all in producer today, and he's in fact he's got a sport coat on, folks.
Yes,
so
it's the wrong color though for my dad.
what does that mean?
yeah, I'm confused by that.
What is
comment.
that?
White sport coat, pink carnation, is one of my dad's favorite songs.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Scott.
That's what I think about when I see a sport coat.
Okay, Scott. Thank you for.
So, anyways,
thank you for
That's for
adding
the,
that to
that's for the 80-year-olds that are listening.
Thank you for adding to our conversation.
back to the comments for a moment here. Daddy Jeep said lumber sexual. Is that a thing?
It is now.
Chuck
Totally is.
Chuck said lumber and sexual. Joe Brilla says there's a wood joke in there somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just going to put it out there. At least he's not talking about the girth of his lumber yet.
Yes. Well done, everyone. Well done indeed. Oh my gracious. We're off to
We haven't even done intros.
We haven't even done intros. And as I had mentioned, my name is Neil with Simpson Family Jeeps, and I am joined as usual by the dapper producer, the Italian stallion, the Italian producer.
I'm Jeff Shermani, and take a couple minutes, go on, like, subscribe, give us that 5-star review. We don't have enough reviews on the podcast streams. Let's get those on there for us.
Let's ramp those up, folks. I know that we've been reviewed on Audible and the old Spotify, I believe, the iTunes, and
Yep.
so we really value that. While the conversation and the comments on Mondays is incredibly exciting and a humbling experience, ultimately, we ultimately are one of the top 25% of registered podcasts on Buzzsprout, right? And so let's contextualize it down to the very nitty gritty. We're actually among the most successful podcasts out of almost 1 million podcasts, and that is a very cool experience. And we are authentically international, and so it's valuable that we continue to build our audience, and that's going to be through you, our listeners, by leaving those reviews, telling your friends, sharing the podcast on those platforms, and making sure that we spread that word.
Go on Patreon, get an even more in-depth experience with us.
Oh boy, there's a whole nother level there, Patreons. And you, sir?
I am mad scientist Scott Brown, and I have a surprise for you guys when we talk about projects.
Oh, I can tell you're all
yeah.
riled up. You're all
He
riled
is
up.
very ramped up.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And I was at his house this weekend, and I don't even know about this surprise.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
All the energy.
Yeah,
Just-
I did it after we did trailer things.
Okay. Well, and I did see you had a very big weekend with that, Jeffrey, and it's valuable to understand if you're just joining us for the first time. While this is the I Speak Jeep podcast, and I promise you, we're going to talk about Jeeps in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or automotive inclined things. The Jeep lifestyle as a whole is about the DIY, the rugged individualism
If it's broke, you fix it.
that's right. That
Yeah.
parallels the brand, right?
if it's not broke, you find a way to make it better.
Amen
You
to that.
break it, then fix it.
There's so many things. So many things. And so ultimately, us as individuals, this is an opportunity where we're going to kind of tell you what we're working on in our life. Understand that we all operate really cool Jeeps in one way or another.
Yes.
And ultimately, our interests are diverse beyond that. And so typically we are doing some weekend updates, if you will. Scott building his traditional hot rod, which is just a huge, huge, massive thing that so very few people can actually even dream about. Jeffrey and his really interesting camper build
Yes.
that we are totally rallying behind. And then my really ill-fated attempt to build a house, arguably scratch-ish, in a very convoluted manner, which obviously if you're a Patreon, you can kind of understand. You see some of the pictures where we started with one thing and we've transitioned it to yet another. And so we kind of update each other and you on that experience, and then we'll get back to that automotive-inspired
Yep.
talking points. So what was that big weekend? Because I see you started with, an 80-foot tag
Yes.
trailer that you were dragging
It's out
along
to
with
the
your
street.
half-ton pick-em-up truck.
It's from my garage to the street at some point.
So you took it over Scott's, right?
I took it over to Scott's, and it
And
legit.
I could tell he was missing wheeling. You know how? 'Cause he put the passenger side tire in the ditch.
In the ditch.
I mean, he was further in the ditch than you've ever been.
You know how many times I
It
have
didn't-
backed
it
big
didn't-
trailers into Scott's driveway
It
with a
didn't-
1-ton Ram?
It didn't go in the ditch.
Well, how'd
totally
you do
went in the
half-ton
ditch.
truck?
I didn't put it in four-wheel drive. It didn't go in the ditch.
All right,
It was
half-ton
fine.
truck.
His axle tube has a little ditch dirt on it.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
It does.
I'm sure it
None of
does.
this happened.
Sitting
How-
on my
how
front porch
good of a
going,
half-ton truck
Good morning,
driver
Scott
are you?
Bennett. Good morning. He says, "Good morning, gentlemen, from your Freedom Crawler family."
What's going on, Scott? Jeff, if you're listening, Jeff drives a Gladiator, 2020 Gladiator. And
It's on the smallest tires in the club.
it's
Yeah.
the smallest tires.
Wow,
That's so
shots
he can
fired.
do half-ton work.
100%.
That's right.
And know that he has delivered customer vehicles for us.
Yes.
He has.
To West Virginia.
To West Virginia. He has
Keeping
hauled.
that blue Jeep Crew strong there.
That's right. And he has hauled parts for us all around our
Yes.
region. So he is as much of a frustrated truck driver as I am, if you will.
100%.
He
Oh,
just
yeah.
does it at that level of half
I even
ton.
brought up to that, as we were working on the trailer, I was like, you and Neil both bought a complete box that had, sinks and stuff
Yes.
in there and beds and
Yes.
stuff. And then you completely removed all of that and threw it all away.
Yeah.
Got down
We
to
did
the
that.
frame
Yep.
Yep.
and started over.
Yep.
See, we bought an idea. That's valuable to say. We're obviously not very smart, and we bought an idea. Ryan,
Yes.
I know you can identify with that. We
Yes.
bought a dream.
That's right.
So
So
I
tell us-
felt it's only appropriate
Yeah.
that if we're ever going to do house things where we completely remove the house,
Yes.
we have to use the purple strap.
Oh, it was so his recovery strap. He brings out the cherry picker or whatever he called it a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
We're just moving on.
But so he brings out that, and I'm like, oh, what's your plan? He goes, we're gonna lift the back of the trailer up so that we can take the axles off and properly weld and stuff. And
Yes.
I'm like, cool. Do you have a chain? He's like, well, I was thinking this. And he pulls out his 8-inch recovery strap.
Scott's recovery strap
You know what else we
is the
learned?
epitome of it's not how big it is, it's how you use it.
Right.
Just
And it worked.
We also learned that my D-rings might be surgically rusted welded on the back of my bumper.
yes.
You can't get them off with tools at this point.
With tools even.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
How
it was
about
bad.
heat? Have we made the
I
the-
haven't
the
gone
metal
all in
liquid
the
yet?
heat.
Go all in. It's
Oh.
just-
Good morning, Dale.
What's going on, Dale? I just Scott's recovery strap is just one of the best long time running experiences we have here, folks. And if you are joining us and you're in the listening audience and you're not sure what we're talking about, understand we've tried to daisy chain Jeeps together and pull a semi out of a field stuck
We're
together.
talking, what, 100,000 pounds?
Oh my God, stupid weight.
Yeah.
We've it's really intended to be like an ATV strap of
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
sort.
It's
I
just- I know
think.
you're worried. It's back under my seat now for full use.
Thank goodness.
Oh.
Thank goodness. The things that we
I'm
have
so
done
glad
with
you
that.
remembered to put it away.
Yep. We should do like a giveaway. We should to our listeners. We should give away.
We can brand it.
Oh my God.
We can
my
have
tired
Davey
purple
put the
strap.
vinyl on it and
Yes.
brand it.
Yes.
The,
Scott's recovery strap.
That'd be a good giveaway.
It would be a good giveaway. Our listeners should let us know if they like that idea or not.
So, anyways, as far as the trailer goes,
Yes.
I-
That's right. We were talking about something relevant and on task.
Scott and I were talking, and he goes, those bushings on those springs are probably going to be very difficult. You might want to make sure you have some bushings or some U-bolts or these things. So I went and ordered the whole leaf spring kit.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
Just
just all in
all in.
because he's got a budget.
Is that on your budget?
It is now.
Okay.
Okay. So it was under $300 for everything. You got
Uh-huh.
the tandem leaf spring kit with the hangers, the
Yeah,
U-bolts.
see, so I said bushings. This man goes and buys leaf springs, the walking piece in between, the hangers, the U-bolts. We had everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't
were
messing
throwing-
around.
They even threw extra lock washers in the box we didn't need.
Oh, that's
They're
great.
like, just put the whole thing
Just
in there.
put
all
everything
of
on it.
It was one of
Everything.
those for the amount of headache and the time it would take to try to reuse those parts and the quality that they were in. I think they were all original still. It's like, you know what? It's time we just
All
put a little
original to
extra money.
what year? Again,
91.
91. There you go, folks. Again, this was a tag-along, fully enclosed camper, like a Coachman,
Yeah.
some type of 86-foot long bumper
Yes.
pull
I think
camper.
it's a
double
park
slide
model.
out.
What's that?
Parkish model, I think.
Yeah,
Park
some type
model,
of
yeah.
park model type camper that most sane people would have just taken out
Yeah.
to a backfield, lit on fire, and scrapped
Yeah.
the frame.
It's been fine.
So
But not the people who work for SFJ 4x4.
No, that's-
No, that would have been too easy.
Dale saying tapping into that budget multiplier.
Yeah, the budget multiplier.
A little bit, yes. So, anyways, we took it there. First thing we did was we assessed where we were going to cut the frame out, and we took the back and just chopped off the back.
No, you're leaving details out. So you said that you had a plan, and then Kristen came out and was like, "No,
No, that's
No.
not the plan.
It gets better.
Oh, the wife.
It gets better.
is
She's
not
been
your plan.
telling me, no, we don't need it that long. Don't need it that long. So I mark where I'm going to cut it, and it's about center of where the axles are. So I'm thinking we're going to have to remove the axles first. And she looks at it and goes, well, why don't we actually do it here? And then that way you've got that area
which
for the
is
deck,
behind the axles,"
which is behind the axles.
which actually makes the trailer longer.
Yes.
She added 3 feet to what I originally planned. And I'm like, well, that's not shorter, but okay.
That's right.
Okay, if that's what we're going to do. So it made it easier, honestly, for us.
Yeah.
We were able to cut the back of the trailer off right behind the axles. That dropped down nicely.
Mm-hmm.
We got that out of the way, chopped the axles off, and we start looking at the hangers, and we realized that they sent us the short hangers, not the long hangers.
We accidentally lowered Jeff's trailer.
We accidentally lowered the trailer.
Oh.
and you know how I love to accidentally do stuff.
Yes.
So it all worked out. It all worked out
It
great.
always does. That's
Uh,
our our thing.
The downside is I now have to plan for wheel wells. That was not in the cards because the trailer sat at such a height that it was just flat built over
Budget
it.
multiplier, Dale. Budget multiplier. Wheel wells now.
Luckily, we know a sheet metal guy.
Right. I happen to know a guy that can bend all that for me. I just
Uh-huh.
have to buy the sheet. So multiplied, but not bad.
I run the business. I know how much sheet metal is right now. I understand that.
Scott's making me feel good. He's telling me one sheet. Kristen's saying I call this a win because she actually is happy that the trailer's lower
See,
now.
that's what she meant by shorter. She wanted the trailer.
She wanted it
shorter.
actually shorter.
yeah.
Not to,
Yeah. So, anyways, we actually, when I got it home after Scott and I worked on it all day, we put the steps in a new location. We put the axles in a new location.
The part I'm most proud of is how we attached the jacks. Other than I'm blind
This-
and put one completely crooked,
Too crooked.
but they're on the same side.
don't worry, folks. He does amazing restorations, incredible vintage
I
work.
was laying on the ground, welding upside down in
Outside.
a breeze.
Wow, the hardest.
No.
It could-
The best part is how he was doing it.
Yeah, we picked up the trailer
From
with
the side.
with the jack,
It
which
was up
made
in
it
the air.
actually lower to make the other side easier. And I'm laying on my driveway, going, Jeff, this is not how this is supposed to be. We should have picked up the other side too.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got it when I got it home finally, and honestly, it wasn't that bad a time. I think I was home by 5:30.
Yep.
So, and we didn't start it till 9:30, 10 o'clock.
It was
So
it was a normal working day.
it wasn't terrible. But when it got home, I actually put it in the driveway. It fit in my driveway. Didn't fit in the driveway before.
sure.
Yeah, it's because it was 80 feet long.
Right. It was 80
Right.
feet long.
Which is
You're
why you were in
city
the
limits.
ditch.
So it fit in the driveway. I opened up the steps, and Kristen came out and was very excited about the fact that
Yes.
the step is actually
Like no,
a lot closer to the
Yes.
ground
Yeah.
than it was before, so
Yes.
it's a little bit easier to step in.
Yes,
Right.
we said she has a lily step now.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
she can get up the first
Yeah.
step.
Yes.
And honestly, it works out really well with that. And as far as everything goes, the ability to adapt and overcome, like he said, the
I didn't
so
tell you what
jack
I made 'em out
mounts,
of.
the
Right.
jack mounts. We were trying to figure out how to mount the jacks. Were we going to weld them directly to the frame?
Because he has an I-beam, so you can't just drill in the center. If it was a C, it would have been easy.
Yeah, if it was a C, we would have just bolted them
Right.
on.
So because he bought everything,
Right.
we had new spring plates.
Nice.
I was like,
I will take that.
spring plates have a little curve,
Yes.
and they're thick,
So
Yeah.
we took the old spring plates.
and drilled holes
Okay.
and welded bolts.
Nice.
And then welded them to the frame.
Oh, that sounds
So
excellent.
that
Oh,
is what
It's
holds
perfect.
the jacks up.
So now I can, if the jack were to fail, I can just remove it take a couple nuts off, take off the jack, put
Right.
on the new one. So we've got
So
four
we
So let
corner
me
ripped one
clarify
stabilizers.
things. Let me clarify real quick. So the Lily step for our listeners, that is Jeff's youngest. So,
Yes.
Yes.
as you can be part of our families and understand, the nature of what we're going through, that is his youngest, and so that a Lily step is, for her and that size that helps her make sure she's part of the family and not having to climb in like we make our kids
as
climb
much
in
as
all
our
of
kids
vehicles.
love to climb in.
Right.
Oh,
All of
yeah.
our kids are a jungle gym in our Jeeps, but makes that relative. As far as the jacks are concerned, are these the the leveling jacks, like in
Yes.
the corners for the trailer?
Yes.
Okay.
It says right
Right.
on there, not to use for trailer tire removal. Which, whoops.
But they're rated for 7,500 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
But
is like
don't use to lift it.
This is like the hydraulics on my RV. That is exactly what I'm lifting the RV with.
Oh yeah.
You gave me hydraulics that can lift an entire
That's
RV.
what I did when I had a flat tire on my camper.
Yes.
So Kristen just chimed in and said, "Sanding and painting party soon. If anyone wants to come help."
I'm good.
We're good.
That's the task that nobody wants to help
and
with.
I,
Seemed to be busy that day.
We haven't told you what day it is.
I love the fact that we have this spectacular facility here at SFJ 4x4, and we actually have a means to move about things here, and yet we continually do things the absolute hardest way possible.
Yes.
Yeah,
And-
we totally could have brought it here. We
You
talked
totally
about,
could have
we
brought
talked
it
about
here.
doing that.
We did it like on a Sunday.
We did.
We did.
and we have mobility in our space, but it's good. Let's continue to toil away.
Well, part of it was, if it ended up taking longer and we didn't want to end
You
up with
never know.
We didn't
You
want to have a
never know.
dead whale in the shop blocking vehicles and
As it is, sounds like you did fantastic yesterday.
we got a lot done.
Folks,
Yeah.
you can follow along the Italian producer on Instagram, and you can follow along. You can see pictures of this process. You can see Scott's recovery strap in
use.
right?
Yep.
I
I added a bunch of those pictures yesterday.
there's a bunch of pictures, and obviously
When
for
we
our
were,
Patreons, we'll probably have some additional sneak peeks and stuff as that process
It is
progresses.
important to note when we were doing non-OSHA approved welding under unsupported
Oh, that's
structure.
not here in the business.
we
not
used
here,
a
though.
chain, not my strap.
Oh,
Yeah, we did use it. We used a safety chain that's not attached to my trailer, but I was using as a safety chain for the trailer.
Which you can completely approve and understand.
no.
It was wrapped around the beams.
All right.
So,
All right.
anyways,
Perfect.
additionally, after all of that, because your Get Hungry thing from our other podcast.
Right.
That's not enough.
No.
We're out there grinding all
You were
day in
doing
the
too
cold.
well. You were
We-
doing too well.
So I was up till, I don't know, midnight last night, a little after, making laser engraved plaques for that music event that I have
Yes.
coming up in April. So we now have the plaques are all beautifully engraved and ready to go. I have to mount them to the wood part of the plaque at this point, but otherwise that part's done.
Yeah.
So
I was a little worried when I woke up this morning and I sick something, and I'm kind of going, kind of conceptualizing what my day is going to be like, and I think it was today. I'm going through the news and I'm going through some of my updates and whatnot, and I really thought I had saw that one of your post updates had just posted like 4 or 5 hours before, and I looked at that and I go, well, I hope he's not dragging today in the process, because you had a busy day to say the least.
What the coffee's for.
Lots of coffee,
Yep.
right? Lots of caffeine in the system.
Yes.
And so this is what consumed your weekend largely, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. And I will just keep mine short and sweet as well.
We need to talk about his surprise, because I'm anxious to hear
Well,
about his
let me
surprise.
just-
Let him do his
Let me
first.
shout out to Jason, because again, as a great customer and friend at this point, and all of you who are listening and joining us, I've always said I've made deeper and greater connections and relationships with people who have joined us as a customer, right? I worked 10 plus years in nonprofit, and while I value all of those people, the people that have actually become friends through the business are some of the best. But he did have to say to me, he goes, you can work on your own house when I'm not around, right?
Oh, you've been called
So
out.
I've been called out.
Wow.
I'm going to have to step up my game
Yes.
and do some more kind of material goodness. to
Hustle.
say. I'm going to have to hustle a little
Hustle.
more on the house, right? Especially if I'm going to make a move-in date of this summer realistic. So,
Even though you guys aren't supportive of my $4,000 budget by May, I will support you in your move by June. July or June?
a date?
August?
Undetermined.
I heard
August.
summer.
Summer is a large time span.
Summer 24.
That's summer. Summer is fine. So you're right. We're not supportive of your $4,000 budget. That's valuable for our listeners and viewers to know. I think it's trash.
Especially when we blew the budget already, sort of.
We didn't blow the budget. I had contingency money in there.
Okay, that's fine. Let's just keep.
Wait.
Just keep swimming.
We still got $2,691 remaining of the
frame, people.
$4,000
There's no
budget.
structure.
But I own all the wood for the structure.
There's no structure.
But I own all the wood and
Yeah, all right.
the
Okay.
building materials for
Okay.
that part.
The tires are original.
We're that part might blow the budget.
Have you packed the hubs yet? Have you pulled the hubs off the axles, repacked
They
them?
spin.
They
They're
just
perfectly fine.
all that's going to be new, because I'm just not going to play around with that. But that's gonna hurt the budget.
That's gonna hurt the budget.
I am going to
Okay.
acknowledge that one.
Okay, all right. This is as long as we're, because I just want to make sure that everybody
I'm still going to try to do it for that project. but
That's right.
As you should.
As you should.
But we're still going to be a sense of reason over here.
Yes. And
That's
it's
fine.
valuable to know that every time I have ever borrowed a trailer of Scott's in any way, shape, or form, I have smoked the hubs on it.
this is why I'm going to just
Yep.
replace them, because I know that'll happen.
Now, and I don't understand, because every trailer I own, I've never once had a hub issue. But
It's because Scott uses it to the brink of failure and then lets you borrow
well,
it.
there is the concern.
He's the one that sets the bar for that.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. All right. Anything else
Yeah, we-
valuable?
we gotta
What's
talk
your
about-
surprise?
So here's my surprise.
What
And
it-
you have to tell me what it is.
It's a piece of steel.
It is a piece of steel. For our viewers, Scott's got in his hands roughly 36 inches long, and it's a piece of steel that is broke, which means that it has been folded over on an edge. It is also rounded.
It's got a curve to it as
it
well.
has a kerf, right? And so the brake it's actually double broke, and it's got a kerf to it. It's about 2 inches in width and 36 inches long. It's a really complex piece of steel for kind of a hand metal worker.
Yep. And it's also got a slight bend in it of the whole profile, so you just
That's a
can't.
kerf, just so you
okay,
know.
That's
Yep.
fine.
Just-
Can't
That's,
just,
that's what we were talking about, but it's
Whatever.
okay. You can explain it.
That's
so
right.
you can't just put this in the metal brake and bend it. You
No.
have to have something else.
Yeah, you do.
And now you have to tell me why I can't use it.
This is something you spend a lot of time making.
Oh yeah.
And now you can't use it.
Were you up till midnight also
Oh
working
no,
on
I
it?
was not.
How often does this
I
happen
quit
in
at
life?
10 because I was like, I'm no.
Oh,
making
burning
this
it
10.
down.
It's 10 when you realized you couldn't use it?
Yes.
Oh.
So at the end.
Oh.
Burning it down.
But this is important. I
I
felt
feel like this is like a windshield cowl.
Ryan
or,
said, "Oh crap."
yeah.
This is like a windshield cowl or
So it's
the door
I have to give
jamb.
you some reference. So
Okay.
this is where the seal would go on my trunk.
Okay.
This is the bottom part of the trunk opening. This wraps all the way around in a very complex shape. So this was me.
When you're saying this, describe this.
The channel that you guys described.
Okay. So that double broke portion.
Yeah.
That is also profiled and
So this top part. Let's see, it's about a half an inch wide. That would be the top part that you would see when you open the trunk opening.
okay.
And the seal would go along.
So this
below
is the backside, basically,
Yes.
as if I'm at the back of the trunk, opening it up
Yes.
up the trunk lid, and I'm looking straight
Yes.
down.
And have you ever seen a car that is curved that way in the 30s?
No.
Yeah. So what did I do wrong? What I did to make this is I got a piece of 1/2 inch square tube and I bent that to match the back of the car.
Oh.
And then I folded sheet metal over it. After I did break it, I had to shrink this with my shrinker stretcher to make it match the curve of the pipe. What I should have done is went and marked top and outside on the tube instead of just willy-nilly doing
you bent
stuff.
it backwards.
So I bent it backwards.
You bent
So,
it backwards.
Do you have the other half of the tube that you can remake this?
The tube is fine. It's just a mandrel at this point. I
Okay.
just have to make this completely over again.
Okay.
And there will be another bend right here.
Oh.
So this will be almost a complete box. And then this part will be welded to
So
the car.
one far end of it will be boxed over.
Yeah,
and
this will
welded
get
to the
folded
car.
one more time.
Oh my! What a spectacularly complex piece.
Yes.
And we'll look for some updates on your social.
Yeah,
For those who
I feel your pain on
for
that.
those
though.
who are listening, right, who are not watching and viewing along in the process, you'll have to check those updates. But how often does that happen in our life where we
All the time.
go straight headlong into something?
And this was after I had all the emotions of dealing with the rust going, I don't think it exists. I can just patch it with
How many
some
times have
solder.
you told? It's like Jeffrey's budget.
Oh yeah.
It's
It's
you
rust
and
free.
It's rust
and the
free.
car's like, I see you.
Uh-huh.
Guess what? I have rust where you can't see it. Take my weather seal out of my trunk
Oh.
for you.
Oh
Go ahead.
my gosh.
So
This thing is going to be so cherry when it's done.
but the important part, what I was commiserating with a guy that's been big help on keeping me motivated on it, and I said, at least I know I can do it now. I just
Yes.
have to do it the other direction.
Yep. And then nobody can ever take that skill from you,
Yes.
right?
And-
Once you've done it, once you've learned it,
they
the
sell this
impossible takes
piece
us a little longer.
For a Model A, not for my car, that's straight.
Okay.
It's $100 just with the bends.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I'd still have to curve it.
So you still have to curve it, right?
So
But I did. I'm going to go back to that quote I just used, and it's from an earlier podcast, from one of the ones that we're producing elsewhere, and it's the idea that the impossible takes a little longer,
Yep.
right? And so now you know it. Now you can do it. It's no longer impossible, which is really cool.
You know, I think we take a moment because that is actually from a customer that
Yes.
brought us some stuff, and I want to give him a quick shout out. Chip, we worked on his Gladiator, and we had it for a week.
We've worked on it for like a year and a half, 2 years now.
Yes.
Well,
and he's a
he knows you exist now.
Which is funny, and just kind of talk about where we're at as a business. I finally met one of our customers, for the first time after almost like 2
Yeah,
years.
this Jeep's basically built at this point.
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
great,
And
beautiful
And he still wants to
vehicle.
do more to it.
Oh yeah, it's a Jeep.
It's a great
It
Gladiator.
goes without saying.
And it's not to say I have to meet everybody. We've had customers from internationally that we hadn't met for years, and we just shipped their Jeep back and forth, and I actually never met them. So
Yeah.
this is doable. But this was a great honor. He brought in a letter as we have worked on his vehicle.
Well, not only did he bring us a letter, he brought us a platter of cookies. This was a second platter because when he dropped off the Jeep, he brought a platter
Delicious.
of cookies.
It's valuable that our love can easily be bought.
Oh,
Let's just
that's
our
cookies and
viewers know
donuts.
that they've sent us treats all the
And
time. Viewers
cheesecake.
and listeners, and coffee cakes. I'm about to do the coffee cake competition and like give people like $50 off their bill if they bring
Right.
me a coffee cake.
the right coffee cake.
It's
well,
got
that's-
to be big enough for all of us. So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. No, it can't be
They
like
can't
a
just bring that little
little
piece for you to
hostess
try. Yeah,
thing.
right.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Full cake.
The other thing is he brought us a flag.
Yes.
from the Navy.
Yes.
It's actually the CB's can do, and for those that are watching, it is in our backdrop up there. So I'm just going to read his letter quickly. It says SFJ team, and I'm going to point out it says team. He wanted it to be known that there was no single person in this business that earned his business. It was us as a team effort.
which is awesome.
He's recognizing that. I would like to present you with this CB flag as a token of my sincere appreciation for all of the work you have done on Natasha over the last few years. She is my dream Jeep, and all of you are making her a reality. There is definitely more to come, but I couldn't be happier with the numerous conversations we've had and the outstanding work that has been done so far. I first came across your company when I was trying to learn how to do a lift correctly, and I saw Neil's video on the importance of track bars and lifts. After that video, I knew your shop was where I needed to go. The history of CB's is one of hard work, dedication, never giving up, and getting the job done when nobody else can. I feel that SFJ absolutely embodies those characteristics. We have a saying in the CB's, the difficult we do at once. The impossible takes a bit longer. Again,
Yep.
SFJ has that same stubborn can-do attitude, and I truly appreciate everything you do and what you bring to the Jeep community. I look forward to working together more in the future. And he signed it really nice, and everything's
Yeah,
the whole
super
thing
cool.
is just amazing.
Just what an honor, right? And it's valuable to know that we appreciate everybody's token of appreciation and
Yes.
gratitude.
And we've gotten some
And-
great ones over
And
the
we,
years.
we have gotten some great ones, and that's the kind of stuff that when things are not going well, because in life that will happen, right?
Yes.
Things
When
will.
you're doing the impossible, it sucks a little bit.
Yep, right. And you're trudging along through the muck and the mire.
Yes.
It's so incredible how something like this, a little token of appreciation, a platter of cookies, a box of donuts,
Cheesecake or coffee cake.
whatever, right? Or just any of those little a sign that somebody saw in the store. They thought of
Oh,
us
yeah.
and they had to bring it into the business. Those types of things just make a difference. And I would encourage people.
Fill the cup a little back up.
They help fill
Yes.
our cup over the time, and so I encourage people to think about doing that for somebody else in your life as well.
100% pass it forward.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And because we know how valuable that is to us, and we thank Chip for recognizing the integrity of this business and kind of honoring us by gifting us the things that he did. So very, very cool. Now he obviously talks about Natasha in his letter there, and it's valuable to know that that is the name of his Jeep.
Yep.
And we. This is a topic that we have talked about doing before.
Mhm.
It may have actually been done once previously,
Meh.
and
Well,
so
I can't remember if that was the episode or if we did Jeep Colors where Scott and I failed. So
there
don't
was
go
a
back and listen to that
fantastic
episode.
episode
Don't go back and listen
that's
to that one.
somewhere in the archives of what we do, or over on our I Speak Jeep podcast channel. For those who join us there on YouTube, there's this great episode where
No.
early on I
You
was
have to-
unable.
You have to fail to succeed. So.
That's right. Where I was unable to make a podcast. I was sick or something.
Yeah,
And-
and the show must go on.
The show must go on. So
Scott
Jeff-
and I,
Jeff stepped in.
that was the first time on camera for me.
And Jeff, it's a little known secret. Jeff does loves to be on the production side of things. Does not love to be in front of the camera necessarily.
Yeah.
And so it was this really fantastic
Train wreck.
train wreck.
It was a train wreck for sure.
So we're going to be talking about what's in a name and how your Jeep got its name. It's one of the things that we see frequently on the social and philanthropic Jeep groups online.
Well, and we just had a Facebook post on our page that was what's your Jeep's name and what's the story behind it, and it just took off.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, tons of comments, and that's what gave us the idea to go ahead and use that as our topic for this episode.
Yes.
So I'll read through some of those throughout this as well.
Yep. And people are always asking, I'm thinking about a name for my Jeep. How do I name my Jeep?
The Jeep tells you.
In some situations, it does. In some situations, it does. Sometimes you want your Jeep to be known as one thing, and then ultimately you find yourself in another situation.
I'm going to throw it out here, too. Sometimes the Jeep name earns itself later.
Yes.
That's true.
So we have one here called Serenity, and it definitely has earned that name at this point.
Yes.
Completely different understanding of serenity. But it needs the serenity prayer. I need the serenity prayer after working on it.
Yes.
I have prayed it a couple times while working on that Jeep.
Yes.
If you don't know, that one is on the YouTube videos for the worst death wobble I've ever encountered. So and not just the severity, but the fact that there's actually nothing wrong with the Jeep, and yet it wants to shake itself apart. So you might want to check that out on YouTube as well.
Demons. As demons.
It has demons. We have not hit it with enough holy water, is
Yeah,
what,
it's something,
what it
yeah.
comes down to.
We need to say
Well-
an exorcism over it.
So, Jeff, do you want to share a couple of people's responses, on our Facebook post there? And
Sure. One of the ones that I thought was hilarious was Sean and Jennifer Ebert. They bought a Jeep about 2 months before they got married. Both agreed we'd never sell it no matter what. We have 5 Jeeps total, and this is the first one we bought together. The name of the Jeep is Prenup.
oh, that's great. Oh dear.
Daddy Jeep. We actually read his full story on one of our previous episodes.
Yes.
To summarize, his son named it
Yes.
20-some years ago when he was 2 years old because
Yes.
when he was coming home, his son would always yell, "Daddy Jeep, Daddy Jeep."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a super cool YJ that's fully built. And if you are a Bantam Jeep Heritage Festival enthusiast, you'll see Daddy Jeep out on the trails. You can also find his YouTube channel where he does a lot of cool builder stuff. I see he's tackling a new project as well, just a little teaser. If you don't know what that is about, you'll have to go over, follow him, and jump on his YouTube because it's pretty neat to see some of his projects.
Just to catch up on comments for a minute, Ryan said he was going to bring us 246 coffee cakes tomorrow. Apparently, he's got a bill to pay or something. I don't know.
I guess I better start making that, Bill.
Chuck says I make a killer apple cake. Give me that discount. I'm interested.
Yes.
Dave Ammerman is saying $50 per coffee cake. I can fit a lot of those with my Gladiator. Scott is saying nice topic, and Daddy Jeep is saying now I have a new one to name.
Yeah, like I said, got to go over to his stuff, and you're gonna have to join in that conversation with him. We're not revealing what he's got going on. You'll just know that he's got something new to name.
The next one, because
Sure.
we talked about humble on our other podcasts, and we like to think of ourselves as very humble here. We made a mistake on our post.
Okay.
One of the pictures, we used the picture #MotherDucker. Well, that is actually Allison Parliament's Jeep from the official ducking Jeep.
Right.
And
she was
she-
on our previous podcast. Absolutely.
She was, and she called us out for using the wrong name.
Sure.
She says mine's actually Quack Attack. Love
Yeah.
the names though, and she's
Yes.
very
Yep.
supportive.
Yep. Do a little correction there. It's still a cool picture.
It's a great picture.
So sorry we didn't take it down. But it's we'll call out the correction.
Absolutely.
Um.
And honestly, if you don't know about the ducks with Jeeps, go check out the official ducking Jeep.
Sure.
Her story is a really cool story.
Yeah.
I
and I think maybe, and again I could be wrong. I think her Jeep changed names at some point in time.
I believe you're
And
right.
I think she shares that on that podcast episode, and that's okay. It's okay that as a new Jeeper, maybe even a veteran Jeeper,
Yep.
and you set out and you think my Jeep's going to be one thing like Jeffrey's is Enigma, and it really should be half-ton things.
It should.
It should be.
That maybe that change is okay. That as just like we as humans go through different periods in our life, and we take on different interests and occupations, that a little bit of change while still remaining true to our core is accurate. So Enigma to half-ton things might have to happen in the future.
Or just be Enigma still because I shouldn't be doing those half-ton things,
yeah,
and then
well,
we
that's-
hashtag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, this is a really good one, and I gotta appreciate the sense of humor that this person has used. Jeff Herrig said, "Not sure if I need to explain this," and he has a picture of his Jeep with his legs up on the fender,
Uh-huh.
but he's an amputee, so they're not real legs, and the name of the Jeep is Lieutenant Dan. I love it.
saw that.
I
loved
love it.
Mic drop. I did not see that. And kudos to you.
Yes.
Kudos to you. That is a fantastic, hey, own it, right?
Right?
Oh yeah.
There's some
Absolutely.
good stuff on there. Scott, I know you shared on there. I know you have a couple different Jeeps. Is there
Yep.
one that a story or a Jeep name that stands out to you?
Well, I guess I can't really speak for my wife, so I don't completely remember why she chose Snowflake, other than when we were getting it
Oh, man.
painted.
You're in
it
trouble
was-
now.
It
Wow.
was snowing.
You had the opportunity. You didn't have to share that.
That's fine.
You could have talked about Oscar.
Gotta
I mean,
own it. Oh, I'm going
okay.
to talk about Oscar. So
This is why Amy is a saint in comparison. Just,
Right.
this Oscar is my JK, and my dad was always grumpy. He was referred to everyone as the grumpy old man or the grouch, so I'm just carrying on in his memory.
That's right.
And somehow that just seems fitting with the Jeep being its dark green,
Yes.
and so that's why it's Oscar.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Another one that popped up in here as I'm
Right.
scrolling through, I think is a play to humor, and the Jeep does name itself often.
Uh-huh.
This is a picture of a Jeep that was burnt to a crisp
Mm-hmm.
and restored. The name of the Jeep is Crispy.
Yeah,
You know what? And
that was a labor
is that
of love.
is that a white TJ?
It is.
Yes.
And again, folks, if you're listening in, you can.
Miroslav is, I think.
Yep.
I think I said it right.
Yeah, pretty close. And folks, if you're listening in, we're in your ear holes and you're on an airplane right now. Make sure you go back, you jump onto our Facebook page, find this post. If you haven't added to it, add to the conversation. It's super cool.
Yep.
That particular Jeep Crispy, that individual actually did their reasonable restoration of that vehicle online, and they did it in such a way. I believe they have 3 TJs.
Yes.
And
Or more now. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I honestly don't exactly know who this person is. I don't have a personal acquaintance with them. I love their updates. They actually post a lot of updates in a number of Northeast Ohio, Northwestern Pennsylvania groups. And what just a really cool build.
Yeah.
And one of their Jeeps is getting an LS right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Yeah, we're following along.
we're following along. Understand that people look in at us as professionals, and maybe they're not always aware of our own involvement. Though it is important to know, if you post it on social media, I likely have seen it. Just bore that into the back of your brain.
He doesn't miss much.
I don't miss much. Whether I address it immediately or not, that's different. But that's an individual that if you don't know about it, you're going to want to find his TJ builds.
Oh yeah.
Certainly. And I'll go on as Jeff searches out another one to share with us. And if you are reasonably joining us, my 04 LJ, which was previously owned by Scott at a point in his life, it's obviously a very different iteration than what it was for him.
Yes.
Goes by Chuck Norris, or just Chuck, or Big Papa Chuck, if you're from my family. My wife likes to call it Big Papa Chuck. And that's just, because nobody roundhouse kicks like Chuck Norris does.
No.
And arguably, I always like to tongue-in-cheek joke about, how tough Chuck Norris is, and equate that to the nature of the Jeep. Also, I have some really great, it's called Silver Vein, contrast color pieces on my Jeep. And while the Jeep is largely black, it has these gray, or as you get closer, silver vein trim. And that is actually, there are some throwback similarities to that iconic Dodge Ram he drove, because you will know I am a Dodge Ram fan as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove this cool truck in his series, Walker Texas Ranger.
Have you seen the video interview with him where he actually makes his own joke, Chuck Norris joke?
I mean, I have seen some. I'm not sure which one you're...
He's literally holding a picture up of a tiger, and he's talking about the time that he got to pet the tiger at the zoo.
Yes.
And he's going up to the tiger, and the tiger starts to growl. And you hear the trainer say, "Stop what you're doing. Very quietly and carefully. Get up and walk away." And Chuck goes, and then the tiger got up and walked away.
And it's because of the Chuck Norris jokes, the humor, that is this, kind of inflated, bigger than life experience, which is exactly why my tunned out LJ gets the name in that sense, right? Got to have a little fun with it. There's plenty of Jeep names where people go all in and they're very serious about their name. And I think that's really cool as well. There's an appropriate nature to say, hey, if that's an extension of you. And that's ultimately why we name our Jeeps. And that's a talking piece that we've shared with so many of our customers as they come into our inner circle, that we will often, for your sake, call your Jeep by its name when we're talking about it, as 100%. If it is an entity here within our facility, and as a respect or an extension of you, the owner.
This is another good one. Angry Beaver. He was out running the creek at Badlands, and came out of the creek, was like a 10-point turn, clipped a dead tree, knocked it down, and made it easier for others. From that point on, it has been known as Angry Beaver.
Great.
That's
a perfect
awesome.
one.
That is perfect. And it reminds me of Jason's Jeep. And again, you'll see it in some of our YouTube videos. And it's here on property at the moment.
Being angry.
Also being angry. We call it the Angry Turtle. And for similar reasons as the Angry Beaver. And additionally, just because the guy loves to wheel slow, right? And it's also a green. You guys in your olive colors or drab or matte colors, if you will.
Yep. It's not easy being green.
It's not easy being green. And so that's the Angry Turtle as well.
I think this is probably the last one that I'm going to read off, but it's Dan is saying he has a JKU. It's not particularly longer than any other one, but he went wheeling one day in Brookville, PA with some friends. He was the only long wheelbase 4-door Jeep in the group. Everyone else had 2-door TJs and CJs. His friend Mark rips up his short steep hill, turns around at the top, comes back down the hill. Hey, Dan, take that freaking limousine and go turn around up there.
Yep.
And so the Jeep's name was chosen. It is Limousine.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, folks, if you're listening to us, if you haven't posted, put a picture of your Jeep. Tell us the story. Where did it come from? There's a lot of great names we've talked about before. Obviously, Jeffrey with Enigma and Daddy Jeep. Scott with Gabriel. Our Scott here with Oscar and Snowflake. Do you have the wagon name?
We do not yet.
Do people name wagons, or
Well,
is
it's a
naming
Jeep.
just for
It's a Jeep.
Cherokees and convertible top?
I don't think I've seen the name on a wagon.
So our full-size Jeeps, if you're listening to us and you have named a full-size Jeep, be it
Yes.
a wagon, a Cherokee,
Well, I've seen names on Cherokees. That one's
an XJ Cherokee, or
Yeah.
a full-size?
XJ.
All right,
We'll go
no.
XJ.
So we gotta clarify.
Let's clarify, and let's say our full-size Jeep. So,
I mean, I think we had one named with Found It.
we did
Oh,
have found it.
you're right.
Yep.
We had found it named ourselves,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
But-
My wagon just hasn't spoke to us yet to tell us what its name is.
And
Oh, Amy just told you you're wrong.
Oh?
Gertrude.
Gertrude. Oh dear.
So, anyways,
Gertrude.
It speaks so well to it.
Keith is saying his is old moss. It was covered in moss when he purchased it. And Paul had called us out about found it right before we realized
Good
it.
job,
so.
Paul. Good job. Way to keep us on our toes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. If you have a full size named, let us know, right? And how did it get its name? Again, I think it's important if we circle back to say we see a lot of people say, "Hey, I got this Jeep, help me name it," right?
Yeah. We can't do that.
I am a firm believer that you have to get into it a little bit to own the Jeep a little while. Get it, use it if you're using it to get groceries, if you're using it to cruise, as a weekend warrior and cruise those back roads. If you're using it as a trailer queen and you're just beating on it off road as a fun extra toy in your family, let it marinate, let it earn its title.
As it should.
And ultimately, the Jeep, as we say internally, will tell us what it wants. It'll open up the conversation.
Yes,
you
it
know.
will.
And I think that is critical. Now, if you really want to name your vehicle before you get it, that is perfectly okay.
Yeah.
But understand, it might, just like us as humans, go through a couple different changes in its life, and be prepared to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to brand it or change it or, whatever it might be to make it reflect its current iteration, you know. Is there anything else that is important about considering naming our Jeep? I mean, I know color palettes fall into things. I see a lot of Black Betties.
Yeah. Money Pit's another common one.
Money Pit is a great one.
Can't understand
right?
that.
I don't know why. I don't know
Not
why.
a clue.
Again, oftentimes we buy dreams, folks.
Yes.
Jeffrey bought a dream in a camper. My wife and I bought a dream or an idea in our tiny house. Scott really bought a dream in his 36 hot rod.
It's rust-free.
At that moment, it was his rust-free hot rod. That at that moment, it was cheaper to buy that quote-unquote rust-free hot rod than it was to just bone up the big money, if you
Yeah.
will.
There was
Can you imagine how much...
That was a nice one. Exactly the same plaque. Had full interior. Had the sill plates are $500 a pair for my car.
But
It's $12,500.
12.5.
but
Could have just
no,
went
drove it home.
Stop, because we know you well enough. You would have bought the 12.5, got it home, and nitpicked everything and redid
Still-
everything anyways.
I'd still be doing the same
You'd
thing.
be doing
Yes.
the same thing.
Yes.
Maybe you'd be a little further ahead.
I'd have an interior and sill
You
plates.
have an
that's
interior. But it does happen, right? And sometimes the name, I think it's funny as the hashtag not a restoration started as the Swamp Donkey, right?
He still
And-
calls it Swamp
And
Donkey.
he still calls it the Swamp Donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that's kind of what I'm talking about is that he initially got this Jeep, called it the Swamp Donkey. It was reasonably fitting to that moment in life. And at this point in time, we named it hashtag not a restoration. It's arguably known on a much broader scale as
Yeah.
hashtag not a restoration.
Internally, it's known as Swamp Donkey likes her pretty dress.
With that, folks, I think we're going to have to transition to our hashtag not sponsored. And you're not going to want to miss this product. I promise you, this is a winner.
All right.
And now it's time for our product spotlight.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Spotlight.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I almost spewed coffee.
You almost ruined his fur coat.
I almost spit coffee on you, Jeffrey. What music were you playing?
No idea. That's why I said.
I thought we were about to belly dance or something, Jeffrey. What was that, man?
I had us muted, so they couldn't hear us reacting to that. But whatever started playing, I literally said, "What is this?" And then I turned to see Neil spitting his coffee across.
What production value did you bring to the table today, Jeffrey?
I don't know.
Where did that music even come
I
from?
have no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, that is
Well, so our product spotlight is not this, but we are not. We have to give a quick shout out. I told in Patreon, if you jump onto Patreon, get into our Discord. There's a little teaser in there, but I said I'd give a shout out. So we're not going to talk about the AEV Aeroskin bug deflector with a light bar.
That fits really nice on JT and JL.
fits really nice on JT and JL's.
And
Could
you
you
could be
imagine?
the talk
Could you imagine
of the
if,
Jeep meet.
if I put that on Jennifer's JL?
Dude.
I mean,
She
folks,
probably
it's a
hit you.
bug guard, right? I mean, we know how I feel about bug guards, but some reason
I just think it's funny. It's the AEV part.
I know
Wow.
they're serious.
Yeah,
AEV
right?
is quality construction, and I mean Jeffrey needs it. It has little lights embedded into the plastic.
So that
You know what those lights would be good for?
for?
If we put a little decal of Kilroy in the light so that it lit up.
Oh my goodness, we could make that with our vinyl graphics.
We need to shout over to Davey because our camera just went down.
Davey.
Technical difficulties, Davey. We have no camera.
Can they hear us?
Yeah, our audio's still recording.
Well, Davey's going to work on that, and we are.
Well, we can talk about our product anyway.
Oh, the camera's back. Look at that.
Yay! All right, what is our product today? Since it's not the
It's not actually in
blood,
view anyway.
the bug guard.
So the best top seats. Scott wanted to bring that into conversation, so we're going to use that topic.
Yep. So this is a seat that is in Snowflake, my wife's CJ7. We have it in hashtag not a restoration.
Mm-hmm.
One of the cool things about these is they physically bolt into your Jeep.
Yes.
And they are
Can
very
we contextualize that? Because if I'm a JL owner, do they bolt into my JL?
okay. Maybe. I don't know. Probably
Okay.
not.
Okay. So
If you have a pre-airbag seat equipped vehicle, how about
correct, right? And that's important. And so our JKJL customers, keep listening because you're going to want this information
Yes.
when you're hanging out at the Jeep meet and when you're looking and purveying
that? It'll
the
win
parking
over that
lot.
CJ and
You're
YJ
gonna-
owner.
You're going to be able to have that conversation and win them over and say, "Hey, we're on the same team,"
Yeah.
right?
One of the things in particular that Ryan loves about these seats is because they're a best top product, you can then get a roll bar pad that matches.
Yes.
You can get a bikini that matches. And
I can wear a bikini to the beach that matches
you totally
my seats.
can. I support you.
It's 2023.
Yes.
Well,
I ain't judging.
A bikini top for the Jeep folks, right? It's the concept of a sunshade or some type of cover that goes from windshield to roll bar.
Yes. And it is very, very close to the factory dash pad on his, which
Sure.
has a Levi tan style pattern on it.
Right.
They are very comfortable. They hold up well. We've got probably 6, 7, 8 years on Amy's, and they're holding up wonderful.
Sure. We
what-
got lots of customers in them.
Yes.
This is a seat we've worked with before.
Yes, and they're very comfortable. They will fit TJ and older.
And that's because of a standardized bolt pattern that
Well,
they
there's
have.
actually 3 bolt patterns on the seat. That
Right.
really makes it nice.
Right, which is exactly, and that's the thing, is that the seat is standardized so that you are going to be able to log on, you can see this product,
Yep.
and go, hey, that reasonably works within my application.
Yeah, and there's 3 different colors, if I'm not mistaken: black, tan, and gray,
Mm-hmm.
which covers pretty much all of that. Yeah, there's no love for the garnet red interior, sadly. But
no.
So Ryan is chiming in that the Best Top bikini will hold up at 91 miles per hour, FYI. Not that he would know that.
No.
Wow. Huh. Is that on you or on the Jeep, Ryan?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it is valuable to know that
Well,
was
and,
on his.
It's important to note that not only did he say the Best Top bikini, but then he put a little emoticon of a bikini.
Yep, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
And he did a great job hauling the Jeep down to make sure it was on display for the Dayton Off-Road Expo. And we really wanted to haul it on an enclosed trailer. We got rid of ours years ago, so unfortunately couldn't do that. It's what we would have done years
Someone
past.
that wants a business opportunity, you should get those and run them out, because I think you'd have a business.
Yeah, yeah. That's unfortunately I only know too many people who lend out their enclosed trailers and they come back damaged.
Yeah,
That's true.
I was all in for a U-Haul, but he wasn't willing to do it.
He says
Oh.
trailered, it will, in fact, not ever do 91 miles per hour.
Yeah, no, that's that little CJ5 is happy under 65. I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Could probably do 70, but
Yeah.
happier lower. I think.
Yes.
Well, do you want to talk any more about the seats?
I think that covers it pretty much.
I agree.
I'm going to throw against Best Top. We're going to throw one of those out there.
Oh, boy.
Because I see you, Best Top. You could do better. The Super Top Cap. Just saying. You could do
Uh-oh.
better.
Little teaser for the future. If you know what the super top cap is, you'll know where Jeffrey's coming at it in his half-ton thing, life.
Yep.
But otherwise, if you don't, you're going to need to look forward to when we do hashtag not sponsored, when we talk about things we don't particularly care for. So a good teaser for the future there, because despite the fact I fully support Jeff, and it's not a horrible product. It was actually something that we had a big internal conversation about, and I kind of advised against it based on some of the stuff that Jeff may or may not be realizing for the money, or not realizing, but experiencing.
And again, decent product. But,
Not bad.
But
We could do
you
better.
could do better.
And we'll talk about that in the very near future, because the good, the bad, and the ugly, that is the nature of life, and we can only get better if we talk about it and put that stuff out there. We've had a lot of fun talking about the names of people's Jeeps, the names of our own Jeeps, how we use them, how the Jeep is going to get its name, or our flexibility in renaming things. Additionally, we really want you to be part of that conversation, so you can join us on Facebook and Facebook Live, and you can jump into the comment section, and a lot of people have fun talking in there. We'll read through a number of them that we can get to during the podcast.
As a quick summary to the names, what were your guys' favorite ones? Favorite name each that we picked out?
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
You can't beat that.
I'm with you on that.
I'm gonna rep the Angry Beaver. I'm
Okay.
gonna rep the
That
Angry
was a
Beaver.
good one, too.
That's a good one, right?
Yep.
And so, there's a lot of fun stuff there. You can join us in conversation as well on our text-only number, 440-855-2100. Again, that's 440-855-2100. That is a text-only number. People send us pictures on that. They text us updates if they're physically coming to or from for services. If you have some DIY questions, you're looking to buy some parts, and you need to know where to jump off, you can jump on that. It's a nice way to initiate communication with us. Additionally, if you want to be part of the production conversation on the podcast and suggest some topics or something to that effect, you can email Jeff directly at jeffc@sfj4x4.com. Again, that's jeffc at sfj4x4.com. SJ, the number 4, X, the number 4.com. And you can join in the conversation, and maybe a topic that you suggest will be used in the very near future. Hopefully you've enjoyed hearing about the updates in our life, things that are going on around the shop, and obviously our products that we do and don't care for, and we'll continue to bring that to you so it's relevant and information that you can bring back to your Jeep club and Jeep family yourself. We hope you had a great time. I know we did. Make sure that you leave a review for us somewhere. That's so incredibly valuable. Thank you for being part of this experience. Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.